Ladies and gentlemen, there are three realities of 2022. Okay, there are three absolute facts, absolute, without a shadow of a doubt, realities and facts. Number one, there is a Durham probe special counsel. This is a fact. You can look, and I'll give you reputable sources below from the political side that doesn't want to address these issues. So, how do you solve a problem like John Durham? This is a Lawfare article. This talks about how the special counsel can actually investigate anything at all related to 2016, even if it doesn't directly relate to the people who set up and framed Trump. Okay? It has a broad scope of investigation. Very broad. And consider for a moment the breadth of this investigation. Durham gets to look not merely at whether anyone broke any law in connection with the origin or conduct of the Russia investigation during the campaign, but whether anyone in the Mueller investigation broke any law at any time. And that also relates to anybody who's linked to Joe and Hunter. So that is a Lawfare article below. That's a reality most people aren't talking about. Hit subscribe to this channel. We're over 192,000 subs, and it's because of you. We're on our way to 200,000 subscribers. But hear me out on this. The second reality and fact is that Republicans are favored to take not only the House but the Senate. This is a CNN article, why Republicans are favored to take back the Senate. They're favored on Predicted, they're favored in the Cook Political Report, and other sites, Crystal Ball ratings. Okay, so you can read the CNN article. When CNN admits that Republicans are favored to take not only the House but the Senate, another reality of 2022 is that Republicans are going to do very well in the House, and they're going to begin investigating our beloved President Mashed Potato Brains and his wonderful son and anyone that they want to within the Democratic Party. Congressmen who perhaps had romantic relationships with foreign operatives. I mean, the list is endless. The corruption 20 years ago was within the Bush Republican Party. Now most of the corruption is within the Democratic Party. They're crumbling before our very eyes. So that's a second reality. Now, a third reality, and hit subscribe to the stock market channel below, because I'm going to talk about this. The stock market channel, I'm going to grow. We're almost at 20,000 subs there. Hit subscribe to the stock market channel. It's below in the pinned comment. I have a fantastic segment on the interest rate hikes. January, March, May, June, July, September, November, December. That's what Bloomberg says. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're going to raise interest rates 7 times this year. That's with oil approaching $100 per barrel and options, some traders in oil that are buying options for $200 per barrel oil. Okay? You have inflation at all-time highs, getting worse. Inflation's getting worse. Consumer sentiment is at a decade low. Supply chain breakdowns are not getting better. There's labor shortages in key industries. Demand is skyrocketing for fossil fuels, and fossil fuels are at all-time highs, which, of course, is another thing that goes against another consequence of focusing only on addressing climate change immediately after you ended economic activity for a year and a half to keep people safe. None of the things that they've pushed for have worked. But my point is, there's an economic component to the Durham probe. There's a political reality and an economic reality to the Durham probe. John Durham and the special counsel, I've said this endlessly. Now, you can try to understand what I'm saying, or you could just disregard it as, oh, well, you know what? None of these things have anything to do with one another, and Durham, he hasn't done anything, and you know what? Hit subscribe to this channel, because I will be at the forefront of what's going on. I wrote in the Federalist Read the article below. I said we're heading towards a stock market. We are going to have a stock market crash because of Democratic Party policies. We're seeing this play out right now. Everything I said in that Federalist article is taking place. We haven't seen the 2,000 to 3,000 point drops yet, but unfortunately that's going to happen. Save your money. As I, ask people for super chat during my live streams. That's tonight. I'll have a live stream on this channel at around 8 p.m., 9 p.m. Pacific. But save your money every month. Things are going to get very bad. And like I always say, focus on love, health, success, joy, laughter, family, and the friends who love you, truly love you, who haven't disowned you because of politics, because those aren't your friends. But focus on happiness. Your life should be on an upward trajectory, always moving upward and onward and happy and successful. The country, by the way, unfortunately, in contrast, this country, we have mashed potato brains and Democrats, and everything is descending into madness, unfortunately. The economy is slowly going in the tank. We're heading towards a recession. The Durham probe special counsel indictments are going to be indirectly correlated or directly correlated to the political climate and the economic catastrophe we're about to see, or that we're slowly seeing in slow motion. So we're heading into a recession. Elon Musk predicted that, and many others. We're seeing 7 rate hikes in addition to all the problems and geopolitical concerns. You can't price in 7 rate hikes and unforeseen geopolitical concerns within the stock market. We're going to have another recession. The economy is going to get worse. Durham has already indicted 3 people without any media coverage, hardly any media coverage, without any political support. And what I'm trying to say is these 3 realities, the economy, the political reality of the Durham probe, the economy, and the political reality of Republicans taking over the House and Senate, that's going to expand the special counsel. That's going to give the special counsel infinitely more political will or political assistance. He's indicting people, but the DOJ is just recently, you can look a couple days back, John Durham accuses DOJ watchdog of withholding info in Russia probe. He just indicted John Durham. He just indicted Michael Sussman, who was an attorney who helped foster the absurd Alpha Bank myth, hoax, bogus story, just like the Steele dossier was. But he worked for a law firm that was very influential in this whole charade. Numerous other attorneys worked to both spread the Steele dossier and the Alpha Bank story and other completely debunked, nonsensical, irrational, completely fabricated and made up accusations against Trump, completely baseless. Nobody has lied more than Democrats and media when it comes to Trump, Russia, and stories like the Alpha Bank story that accused Trump of communicating with Russia or the intelligence services or the Kremlin through a server in Trump Tower. And then they found out it was actually just like a marketing software program that had nothing to do with Trump or the Mueller investigation or anything like that for some company. So they made it up, and this attorney Sussman was indicted by John Durham's special counsel because apparently he willingly deceived or intentionally deceived the FBI, which gets us to another hilarious component of all of this, because people at the Bureau were part of this. Kleinsmith, the FBI attorney also indicted, was lying to FISA judges to obtain FISA warrants to continue surveillance because they had nothing on Trump. Then you have the Steele subsource, though, was indicted by the Durham probe special counsel. But if you have an economy in the tank and you have Republicans taking over the House and Senate, what do you think happens to the special counsel? It grows in importance. The Durham probe special counsel will likely work in conjunction with all the other investigations that Senate Republicans, Trump Republicans in the Senate, and Trump Republicans in the House are going to conduct. This isn't going to be your Paul Ryan, Richard Burr Senate or Paul Ryan House. Okay? The Democrats basically had their junior varsity team, or their, they were Democrats and then pseudo-Democrats with Paul Ryan and Republicans in the House during Trump's first 2 years in office. Richard Burr confirmed in the Senate Intelligence Committee and a baseless accusation by intelligence agents or agencies, 3 of them, 2 of them run by highly partisan Clapper and Brennan, who both lied under oath, by the way. So there are 3 realities, ladies and gentlemen, 3 political and economic realities. This is not an absurd, nonsensical message board that I told you was very harmful in 2018. You could see the debate on hagoodman.com. When I disagree with something and I think that something's harmful, I debate and I go into it and I explain to the world why it's nonsense. And I told the entire world that absurd message board was only going to lead to harm, because it was almost certainly the work of deranged Democratic operatives, just like when it was the work of somebody who just wanted to deceive people, but very likely an operative linked to the Democratic Party, because you don't have Democrats or media trying to find out who created that absurd message board. Anyway, my point is, a number of people believed in a really stupid message board. And those same people are not understanding the gravity or the enormity of the Durham probe special counsel. The Durham probe, John Durham already put a top FBI official in prison. Okay, he's already done that. This was an FBI official in Boston who worked with criminal organizations and who became a criminal himself. And he hid behind, the man that John Durham put in prison hid behind his post, his bureaucratic post, just like Comey and McCabe and Strzok and Clapper and Brennan and Kleinsmith and others did. They hid behind the government, and they were doing things that were legal, but in an illegal manner. They were hiding behind their post, their bureaucratic, their bureaucratic protocol, but they were manipulating what took place to suit a corrupt motive and corrupt ends. So, like I said, people need to realize or look at things in a different way. John Durham's special counsel is not just a special counsel that nobody talks about and nobody thinks is really going to lead to key indictments. Indictments are going to increase either directly or indirectly alongside an economy that's heading into recession and an economy that's going to see a stock market crash that nobody will have a doubt is taking place. The 2,000 to 3,000 point drops, unfortunately, are going to happen. If you look at the Goldman Sachs article below, it'll be below. Goldman sees Fed hike 7 times in 2022 instead of 5. The market is at an all-time high, in large part because interest rates are at all-time lows. Inflation is not going to, if you listen to Peter Schiff and others, they can raise it 7 times, and it's not going to prevent inflation from continuing to go up. So this entire economy presides under a sword of Damocles hanging over it. You can't raise interest rates 7 times instead of 5 and expect to prevent inflation from continuing to skyrocket after you've pumped in $10 trillion into the economy because you ended economic activity, and like turning on a light switch, you immediately and arbitrarily opened up the economy because you, felt like it, and, the experts said shut it down and then open it up immediately. You can't just expect the supply chain breakdown and the labor shortages in key industries and inflation, the demand for goods, all causing inflation, to just suddenly dissipate because you've raised interest rates. Inflation is 7.5% year over year. The interest rates are not going to be anywhere close to 7.5%. And you're still going to have these labor shortages in key industries, okay? You're still going to have the supply chain breakdown. You're still going to have oil that will go above $100 and very likely almost certainly go above the all-time high of around $140 or so, $147 per barrel. So you have energy going through the roof, gas, natural gas, and this is what happens when Democrats obsess over anything. They Trump Russia'd climate change and every other issue we won't talk about. When they sink their claws into an issue, they Trump Russia it, and it becomes this apoplectic, hysterical public relations monstrosity nightmare. But these are three realities that you have to always look at, and I want people to see 2022 in an aggregate perspective, especially when it comes to the Durham probe special counsel. John Durham's going to get the political support. He'll probably get a lot more media coverage because everyone's going to be fed up, including a great many Democrats that voted for mashed potato brains. Okay? President Poopy Pants is not going to save the country from the economic catastrophe we're seeing right now. And what do you think's going to happen just in terms of so Goldman sees Fed hike 7 times in 2022. If you have a 50 basis point hike in March, and then you have subsequent interest rate hikes, Goldman Sachs Group sees Federal Reserve raising interest rates 7 times this year to contain hotter than expected U.S. inflation rather than the 5 it expected earlier. If this inflation is the cause of an arbitrary end to the U.S. economy and then an arbitrary reopening, and not something that usually when inflation is skyrocketing, or I should say in the early 2000s or the dot-com bubble, the economy was soaring. But because of that, speculation was the result. And people, didn't realize that things were going to collapse for a variety of reasons. This is completely different. This is an example of we have hundreds of billions of dollars more in margin debt. We have more derivatives purchased on margin. We have hedge funds that, because of the moral hazard created, invested in risky or borrowed more money on margin to purchase derivatives contracts. And so you have a situation where the underlying economy is a lot worse than it was before other market crashes. So we're heading towards a devastating recession. And again, it's unfortunate, but it's going to help the Durham Probe Special Counsel. And you already have Republicans taking over the House and Senate. Now, imagine what takes place throughout the year with the 7 interest rate hikes and the economy going into the tank. Even Democrats will want to see indictments, or maybe not publicly. When you have the Daily Beast writing about Hunter Biden and admitting that these problems with Hunter are actual legitimate problems, that you're seeing the public relations apparatus slowly turn on President Mashed Potato Brains. Anyway, hit subscribe to this channel. Right now, if you've lasted this long, go to the Stock Market Crash channel. That's below in the pinned comment. I have a wonderful segment on the interest rate hikes. And I will have a live stream tonight at around 9 p.m. Pacific. So be here for the live stream at around 9 p.m. Pacific, everybody.